Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com, and joining us now is RPI hockey coach Seth Appert, who, Coach Appert, explain this to me. You guys were 1-5 going into this weekend. Union was 5-1. You guys swept Union, beat them 2 games in a row, the number 2 team in the country. What is that? First of all, congratulations. Thanks for coming on. And second of all, what does that say about your team?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. I love your show, and glad to be back on.
Thank you.
You know, it was a good weekend for us, obviously. You know, we have a lot of respect for Union and what they've built over there for their program over the last, 10, 15 years, and obviously they're the national champions. So, and it was important. We were not playing that good. But I've said all along that I really believe that there's a very, very good hockey team in our locker room, but it might not start evolving until later in the fall or into the winter, just because we have some things to kind of sort through, and we got to grow up a little bit. Some guys are in some new roles, and our goalie's coming off of a year absence because of an injury, and all of those things take some time. And we're certainly disappointed with our effort against Bentley, and but our guys came out and responded the right way this week.
So it wouldn't be fair to say that you just were seriously looking ahead to this weekend, and now you guys can play hockey now that that's behind you?
That's a great question. If I knew the answer to that, I think I would have done a better job getting our guys ready for Bentley. I don't think we were. I'm sure there was some lingering effects of that in the Bentley series, but I think what happened is when you're struggling to score, as we were in those first 6 games, you start to focus on the wrong things, and I felt that way in the Bentley game. It's 1-1. Bentley's got a nice team. They're a potential national tournament team this year, and it felt like our guys were angry that it was a 1-1 game with 10 minutes to go on Friday night, even though we were outplaying them. And you just, that's where you have to be patient and find a way to win a grindy 2-1 game. And we didn't, and then we put a lot of pressure on ourselves the next night to respond, and all of a sudden, now we don't again, and you're gripping the stick really tight. And I thought our captain did a great job last week, Curtis Leonard. As a staff, we wanted to send a message that we weren't panicking, that we weren't as disappointed as we were in the Bentley series, that we weren't panicking in terms of what we have in that locker room. I think, my assistants did a good job of helping send that message, but I thought that our captain, Curtis Leonard, did a fabulous job last week of keeping the guys on an even keel, keeping them upbeat and excited for practice, and getting them ready for the Union series.
It's RPI hockey coach Seth Appert with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. RPI beat Union 6-1 on Friday at Houston Fieldhouse, and then on Saturday 2-1 in overtime at Union at Mesa Rink. And Coach Appert, I mean, I was there for Saturday's game. It was rowdy, it was fun, it was a great time. The atmosphere is unbelievable, and just everything around the RPI Union rivalry, in my opinion, the best college hockey rivalry in the country. I know ESPN's John Buccigross came and hung out with you guys. I was texting back and forth with Bucci on Saturday. What was it like with Buccigross being there Friday night?
Well, I think that shows you how big this rivalry's become. That Bucci sends me a text on Wednesday and says, "Hey, I'm coming up Friday night. Can you leave me a couple passes?" And I think that it kind of shows where this rivalry's gone to. Obviously, credit to Union, the national champions, and our teams have both grown and to where we've both been fighting for top 10, top 20 rankings in the last 5 years, and there's just a real animosity between the two teams, and that's a good thing. That makes for good hockey. It makes for good theater, and there's also a real animosity between the two fan bases. And I thought both rinks were electric this weekend. It's the best rivalry I've ever been part of in college hockey, and I think we're both programs are very fortunate to have it because it's a special thing to be a part of for your student athlete.
With you had said that it was going to take a little time to develop into the hockey team you believe you really have. Winning like you did this weekend, does that show the guys just how good they are and speed that process up?
You'd like to believe it does, but it only will if we have a good practice today and can carry it forward. I think that's important when you gain any momentum, is to carry it forward with how you attack practice during the week. Just the same as when you play poorly against Bentley, that only carries forward. The negativity of that only carries forward if you don't practice well. And so, it really is on our staff and especially our players to show up on Monday with a good attitude and a work ethic and want to get better. Because teams that have a will to get better end up becoming great hockey teams in January, February, and March. So I think it definitely gives our guys some confidence. To Union, obviously, we all know how good they are. They've had our number a little bit in the last couple of years, and so that does give our guys some confidence that some guys scored some goals that we need to score this year. And offensive players, as much as you talk about not wanting them to focus on offense, it's hard for them to look at their stat line and see 0 and 1 for 1 or 0 and 0 for 0 in terms of their points. And so, there's some guys that probably feel a little bit better about their game and maybe aren't gripping the stick so tight. But most importantly is how we carry it forward starting today at practice.
RPI hockey coach Seth Appert with Armen and Levack on 104.5 the team, and RPI now holds the all-time advantage 48-33-10 against Union, and it was RPI's first sweep of Union since the 2003-2004 season. And Coach, looking at your schedule this weekend, both at Houston Fieldhouse, Friday against Harvard, Saturday against Dartmouth. You guys now 2-0 in ECAC play. What do these two games mean to your program as you look to this weekend?
Yeah, it's big now. It's. I think what's important in ECAC is you only usually have around 8 games played in the ECAC play before the holiday break, and then it's a heavy load of league play in January, February, leading to the playoffs. So, what's important in the first 8 games heading into the break is that you're not going to win the league, you're not going to gain a top 4 position in those games, but you also can't put yourself too far behind, and so you want to put yourself in position to where if you improve to be the team you need to be in January, February, you're ready to make a run. And, now we have those 2 games in hand from this weekend, and you want to capitalize on that momentum. And something we've talked about is making the Houston Fieldhouse a miserable place for opponents to play. And that's something that really ticked me off in the Bentley series. I don't think we made it miserable for Bentley. I thought we did a good job of that on Friday night against Union, and now we have an opportunity this weekend to try to grow that mentality that when teams walk in our rink, it's going to be miserable for them, and it's going to be hard on them. And our fans are great, but it's up to our players to make that a miserable game for opponents to play in, and we want to make sure we replicate that on Friday night.
Well, it's funny you say that because, and I was going to ask you to specify player-wise or just the atmosphere, the fans, everyone involved, because when I was at school, I went to Texas Tech University, and Mike Leach was the head football coach then, and the school put like $2 million into this campaign to clean up like sportsmanship and everything. And Mike Leach said, I don't condone this because I want our arena to be the most uncomfortable place to play in the country, most difficult for any team that comes in, and that starts with our fans. So when you say make it a miserable place to play, is that fans included, or are you more speaking to your team?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think our fans already make it that way. If we give our fans to be loud, they're going to be loud. It's a really raucous crowd here. It's one of the, as Bucci Grass stated, he's like, it's everything that's right about college hockey is watching a game at RPI in the Houston Fieldhouse. It's loud, it's fun, it's energetic. The band's going, the students are standing up the whole game. It's a special place to play. So I don't think our fans are over the top. I think we have good, honest fans that make it hard with the noise, not necessarily with anything that's vulgar. And I think that's something we're proud of here at RPI. But so they're already making it hard. It's up to us. It's just our will to play the game the right way and to not cheat the game. I think hockey's a game that if you cheat, you usually get burned. And if you play an honest, workmanlike game, and for us, that's a little different. 2 years ago, we were mean and physical, and that led us to be a top 15, top 10 team in the country. We're not as physically imposing, but we can be very tenacious with our speed and the relentlessness of our play. And we started to see glimpses of that this weekend, and that is what makes it miserable on an opponent, is that they have no time and space. Every good offensive player in any sport wants time and space. A quarterback wants to sit back in the pocket and be comfortable in football. And I think when we're at our best, we're taking away time and space from our opponent, and that's how we can make it miserable on them.
One of my favorite things about you is you don't coach speak us. You tell us the absolute truth. So I just want to play word association real quick. January 24th.
Rematch.
I love you.
Yeah, he knows.
Is it circled? I mean, we asked you last time, and you said, yeah, we're going to pay attention to that date. Now, this is a little farther off. A lot of games between now and then.
We're not going to be consumed by it. I don't think it's important. I think it's important not to be consumed by your biggest rival in terms of your focus and energy, and have a day-to-day process focused approach. I'm a process-based coach, but let's not kid ourselves. I mean, they're the national champions, and it's our biggest rival, and it's awesome. It's just great to be a part of that rivalry. And sure, it's more fun to win, but they've had our number in the last couple of years, but it's still fun to be a part of that. And I think the rivalry makes both programs better, and it makes it unique, and it's special for our student athletes. So yeah, no, it's a rematch, absolutely. And I would imagine that come January 24th, there'll be, I think there was 8,000 last year. I would imagine there should be 10,000 plus this year, filling downtown Albany and making that a special event for both programs to be a part of.
Beautiful. January 24th, of course, the Mayor's Cup, Union, RPI, at times Union. Let's all be there. RPI hockey coach Seth Appert with us today on 104.5 The Team. Coach, as always, hey, thanks for listening. I love getting your texts about our show. I love the fact that you're a listener, and congratulations on the sweep over the weekend, and we'll continue to keep an eye on you, and you know where we're at. If you ever need anything, hit us up anytime, Coach.
Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, Seth.